Hello and welcome to a new tutorial. Today I want to show you how to make this gorgeous pillow. I have seen recently lots of interior decoration that use these round, velvety, fluffy throw pillows, which give that luxury vibe that we all want in our houses. Also, the green is just an amazing color to play with while styling your house. But it's not just green that this pillow is so good looking, there are also lots of other colors that you can use with this pattern. To crochet this pillow, I have used chenille yarn, which is kind of a velvety type of yarn, perfect for this project. The one shown in this tutorial I bought on Amazon, but I recommend the chenille yarn from Ice Yarns as well, which I love, but I didn't have it in green, so I had to go with the Amazon one. The links to both my yarn recommendations will be linked in the description box below. Also a 3mm hook. I started with a slip knot and 5 chain stitches. Then I slip stitched in the first chain and formed so a ring. In which I crochet 15 double crochet as first round. I crocheted then 2 chains which count as a double crochet and then a double crochet. I continued crocheting double crochet stitches in the ring until I had 15 double crochet stitches in total, including the first 2 chains. Once I finished 15 double crochet, I slip stitched in the second chain of the 2 chains that we crocheted at the beginning of the round. Then, for the second round, 2 chains, and in the same chain I crocheted another double crochet. Then, in the second stitch, I crocheted 2 double crochet. So in this round I increase on each stitch with a double crochet. I continued repeating the 2 double crochet in one stitch to the end of the round, and at the end I had in total 30 double crochet stitches. At the end of the round I slip stitched at the second chain of the first stitch. And then I started the third round, crocheting 2 chains, which count as a double crochet, and also 1 more double crochet in the same place. Then, in the next stitch, I crocheted 1 double crochet. This is the pattern for the first section of the round. In total, there are 15 sections since we started with 15 double crochet at the first round. So, for the second section, we will crochet 2 double crochet in the next stitch and 1 double crochet for the second stitch of the section. I repeated the pattern of the second section, 2 double crochet in one stitch, then 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 13 more times, to the end of the round. At the end of the third round, I had 45 double crochet stitches in total, and of course, I closed the round with a slip stitch at the second chain of the first stitch of the round. Now on to the fourth round, 2 chains which count as a double crochet and 1 double crochet more in the same chain. Then 1 double crochet on the next 2 stitches. For the second section of the fourth round, I crocheted 2 double crochet in the first stitch, then 1 double crochet on the next 2 stitches. I repeated the pattern of the second section, 2 double crochet and then 1 double crochet on next 2 stitches, 13 more times to the end of the fourth round. At the end of the fourth round, I had 60 double crochet stitches in total. Once I arrived at the end, I slip stitched on the second chain of the first stitch of the round. Then I started the fifth round crocheting 2 chains, which count as a double crochet, and 1 more double crochet on the same stitch. Then 1 double crochet on the next 3 stitches. For the second section, I crocheted the pattern 2 double crochet on the next stitch and 1 double crochet on the next 3 stitches. I repeated the pattern of the second section, 2 double crochet and then 1 double crochet on the next 3 stitches, 13 more times to the end of the round, and slip stitch on the second chain of the first stitch to close the round. In total, I had 75 double crochet stitches at the end of the fifth round. For the sixth round, 2 chains, which count as a double crochet, and 1 double crochet on the same chain. Then 1 double crochet on the next 4 stitches. For the second section of the round, I crocheted the pattern 2 double crochet on the next stitch and then 1 double crochet on the next 4 stitches. I repeated the pattern of the second section 13 more times, and I arrived at the end of the sixth round with a total of 90 double crochet stitches and a slip stitch on the second chain of the first stitch to close the round. Then I started the 7th round with 2 chains and 1 double crochet on the same stitch. Continuing with 1 double crochet on the next 5 stitches. Then for the second section I crocheted 2 double crochet on the next stitch and 1 double crochet on the next 5 stitches. I repeated the pattern of the second section 13 more times and closed the round with a slip stitch on the second chain of the first stitch of the round, with a total of 105 double crochet stitches. For the 8th round, again 2 chains and 1 double crochet on the same stitch. Then 1 double crochet on the next 6 stitches. At the second section, I crocheted 2 double crochet on the next stitch, then 1 double crochet on the next 6 stitches. I repeated the pattern of the second section 13 more times. At the end of the round I had in total 120 double crochet stitches and I closed the round with a slip stitch on the second chain of the first stitch of the round. On the 9th round I started with 2 chains and 1 double crochet on the same place. Then 1 double crochet on the next 7 stitches. For the second section I crocheted 2 double crochet on the next stitch and 1 double crochet on the next 7 stitches. I repeated the pattern of the second section 13 more times, closing the round with a slip stitch on the second chain of the first stitch of the round, with a total of 135 double crochet stitches. Then on with the 10th round, crocheting 2 chains and 1 double crochet on the same stitch. Continuing with 1 double crochet on the next 8 stitches. For the second section, I crocheted 2 double crochet on the next stitch, then 1 double crochet on the next 8 stitches. I repeated the pattern of the second section 13 more times, closing the round with a slip stitch on the second chain of the first stitch of the round, with a total of 150 double crochet stitches in total. Now I started the 11th round with 2 chain stitches in which I will not do any increases, but I will crochet 1 double crochet on each stitch to the end of the round, closing the round again with a slip stitch on the second chain of the first stitch of the round, and a total of 150 double crochet stitches. I continued the same pattern of round 11 until the 14th round. So from round 11 to 14, I went on crocheting 150 double crochet stitches for each round. Once I finished round 14, my work looked like this. Then I made one more chain, pulled some yarn and cut the yarn. I repeated the same pattern and made a second panel in which I left some leftover yarn for the sewing. Next, I placed one panel on top of the other, right sides facing outwards, and started sewing with a very simple sewing as shown. Inserted the leftover yarn in a tapestry needle and started sewing the edges of the 2 panels with one another, making sure that the sewing was neat and secure, so I won't have any holes showing. I kept sewing all around the edges, leaving open section for the filling. Then I started filling the pillow until I had some volume going on, and I could make a hole as shown in the center. Then I stopped filling and took the needle with same color yarn, made a big knot at the end, then from the inner side of the pillow pulled it up at the first round of the panel, trying to tangle the yarn. And I went on to secure the yarn by inserting the needle all around the first round, forming a magic ring in between the stitches in the inside. Once the yarn was secure, I inserted the needle right in the center of the panel and pulled it out at the center of the panel on the back. Then I flipped the pillow on the other side, pulling the yarn, being careful not to break it, and in the same time I tried to make a magic ring in between the stitches of the first round. Always pulling the yarn and making sure that the 2 centers of both panels meet in the center. Then again, I inserted the needle at the center and pulled it at the other side in the center, repeating again the same actions. I continued to sew the center from one side to the other until I was sure that the center was secure and that the hole that I created in the center would not be undone. Then I secured the yarn, going one more times in rounds in the first round of the panel, and pulled the yarn from the inside of the pillow and cut the yarn. Next, I made sure that the pillow was stuffed well and continued to sew the opening. Until I had a few centimeters left, in which I kept stuffing until I thought was enough for my taste. And lastly, I finished sewing the small opening left on the pillow, secured the yarn, hid it, and then cut it. And that was all I had to do to make this amazing pillow. So, how does it look?